House. And lawmakers were seen brandishing the flags of the APC in a group photograph after the sitting. Fubara and his predecessor, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, have been at loggerheads over the party's structure in the state. And the National Secretary of New Nigeria People's Party, Olapusi Ogini, has described the purported coalition involving the party and 6 other political parties tagged Coalition of Concerned Political Parties as fake and untrue. Ogini insisted that the party has not authorized any coalition with any political party, urging the public to disregard the involvement of NNPP in the purported coalition with the People's Democratic Party and the other 6 parties. He said this in a letter addressed to the Board of Trustees, chairman of the PDP, and made available to newsmen on Sunday evening. The party's secretary cautioned the PDP to stop dealing with people who did not represent the interest of the NNPP. A youth advocacy group, Brain Builders Youth Development Initiative, has expressed its readiness to engage state governors and their commitment to the future of Nigerian youth in the country. The global director of the group, Abidin Olashupo, disclosed this while addressing journalists in Ilorin, the state capital.
It's time to reshape our collective approach towards governance. It is time to shift our focus beyond the federal government alone and turn our attention closer to home, to our states, our governors, and their commitments to the future of our youth. We are leveraging technology and citizen advocacy to hold our state governors accountable for the promises they've made for our youth development. BBYDI has meticulously selected and trained youth focal points. You can call them warriors for change in each of our 36 states.
And following President Tinubu proposed student loan, stakeholders is being charged to partner government at all levels in investing in the educational sector of the nation. Addressing journalists at a press briefing, Anamero noted that education should be a fundamental right accessible by every child, as he revealed his plan to give free registration of senior school certificate exam for over 10,000 indigent students in the state.
Bring to your notice that the final modalities that have been put in place for the equitable sharing of the 10,000 WAEC enrollment fee, which I promised to pay for all indigent students across Edo State who are billed to sit for the WAEC examination. This initiative is aimed at ensuring equitable access to education for children of Edo State. This is a reflection of my commitment to providing opportunities for every child to thrive and actualize their individual careers, as education remains the pivot for the development and prosperity of any society or nation. Therefore, in addressing this issue head-on, we have devised a plan to bridge the gap and alleviate the burden placed on economically disadvantaged families in our society.
Lauding the lawmaker for his selfless service to humanity, persons present at the event described the move as worthy of emulation, while they call on other spirited Nigerians to follow the footsteps of Honorable Dakari in adding positivity to the life of the people.
This is a very good step in the right direction. It's a noble step. It's a step that is meant for the good people of Edo State. It's a step that is meant to alleviate the sufferings of indigent citizens that are craving for education.
As a former commissioner for education, I would say without missing words that WAEC is a major gateway to greatness of every citizen, whether Edo State or beyond. And you have my witness that there are a lot of people, families, that don't have the capacity to even, pay this fee. And the implication of that is that, intellectuals across the states, by reason of their parents, disadvantaged position, are not able to go beyond, the secondary school level. And today, we have seen an aspirant who is saying, yes, I will pay for 10,000 Edo State, people to enable them, write work that is enrolling for them. What is good is good.
Just recently, I accompanied him to the chamber in the House of Representatives when he moved a motion that as a matter of urgency, as a matter of importance, that the federal government, through its palliative measure, should declare 2023 SSC enrollment free so that every household in Nigeria, most households that cannot afford that this affliction of fuel subsidy removal has affected, we have direct impact on them. But definitely the bill was stepped down. But today, as a man who loves education, as a man who always have these feelings and love for the less privileged, he has taken it upon himself to enroll for 10,000 indigents.
In Kano, residents living in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, under the aegis of Kwankwasia Movement, River State chapter, has called on the judiciary not to dash the hope of the masses in Kano State. They met the call during a solidarity prayer session held to support Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf, which they described the recent appeal court judgment as judiciary judgment scandals in the March 18, 2023 governorship election in the state.
However, the situation of human being, there is no more solution about for prayer. We believe with prayer can solve any problem that human being into. That's the issue of doing the prayer. This recently governor, he worked for about 8 months, but based on how we see Kano stand now, it's even more than that people will collect the Kano with them more than 8 years. This is the over 10 years. This is the recently year that we see people from nowhere. They are paying school fees to go abroad. We have a lot of hospitals that no more working. Then share the other government has shared by themselves. Now, if you go into this hospital, they are treating people free. Yes. Give them medicine free. And all the materials supposed to be in the hospital, they are recently in the hospital right from now.
Please, judiciary, you shouldn't allow yourself and other people to be using you. We are looking at, it's a kind of influence of people of, from the Oga at the top and his boys wanted to collect this mantle of leadership systematically. Not that it's because Abba has not won that election. Let's allow the masses, since the masses has already spoken, they've spoken by electing Abba Yusuf Kabir. Let them allow Abba Yusuf Kabir to continue ruling. So please, Supreme Court is the last hope of masses. Let them do what they're supposed to do so that they will restore back hope. They will restore back this democracy to continue as we plan and as the way they teach us.
And I'm calling out that the Supreme Court should hear from us that we are suffering a lot. So the Supreme Court will help us and listen to the masses cry. He has done a lot. He has helped the poor, the youth. He has helped as for the medical aspect, he has done a lot. Because we now, as the poor, we have been crying. The students, they are crying. They don't have money to further them.
They also called on President Bola Tinubu to respect the will of the people of Kano and called to order the political gladiators as well as their judiciary agents to steer clear of Kano and let the will of the people stand.
I want to call the attention of Mr. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu to look into this matter of the courting judiciary, because we not get hope. Poor people in Nigeria, we believe in justice. So when we miss about for the justice, there is no hope again. Many Kano people and other states go out vote for the right person that they need, which is be for the seat. And other bad people come, they are dragging because of their position, do whatever they want to do to snatch the other people their seat, which is no good. And it's going to cause a lot of problems, which is we're not happy. We are always praying for our leaders and our country to make sure the country is safe. That's my advice to me.
The House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation had an audience today at the National Assembly for very important MDAs to explain their budget projections and expectations for the year 2024. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Abubakar Bichi, before the grilling of the heads of the NDAs present on day 2 of the ongoing exercise.
27 trillion may look very big, but considered our, inflation, exchange rate, and all of that, we believe that we really have to look into it and to support Mr. President to actualize his 8-point agenda. No matter how Mr. President wants to actualize his agenda, he needs some funds, he needs some money, and the only way for him to get money is through all these GOEs, and to see how we can interact with them, how we can have more funding to support Mr. President to actualize his dreams. That's the reason why we said, let's call all the GOEs and the Honorable Minister of Finance to see how we can move on, how we can get more revenues to support Mr. President to actualize his dreams for Nigeria. We believe that the budget was perfect, brilliant budget, but of course without funding, it's going to be a serious problem.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, threw more light on the issues around government borrowing plans and constraints on the 2024 budget, amongst others.
Look at the budget. It even indicates that we are looking to equity, we are looking to privatization, even though the estimates for revenue from there are relatively modest. But it's the direction of travel and intention that is important. So we'll be looking to get more revenue from across the board of government business, which means the government-owned enterprises, the parastatals, as well as looking to private sector investment.
The committee at this point proceeded to pose questions on the expected budget projections from the various MDAs and expectations on how to achieve it.
How do you find a balance so that Nigerians don't get overtaxed, one? Secondly, so that small businesses don't crumble in the process of beefing up taxation? And then, doesn't it also contradict the government's interest in foreign direct investment? Won't that rather scare away foreign investment when they hear that we are raising taxation? So is there any way we are going to find a balance? That's number one. Then the second one is, what, as Minister of Finance, what are we doing seriously to reduce the cost of running government?
In their responses, all the MDAs assured that they will do everything possible to ensure increase in their 2024 revenue generation.
In terms of performance, as at end of November, or should I just say last week, Friday, we have done 2,959,858 million naira. In terms of the percentage of the total that we are targeting for 2023, this amounts to about 81% of our projected revenue. We still have some few days in 2023, we are a little bit optimistic that we would be able to give the target a very good shot. An analysis of our performance in 2023 shows that we had a very, very slow start to the year. And we know that there were a number of factors that were responsible for the slow performance in the year. But things have redoubled a little bit from the second quarter, from the third quarter of the year. And we've moved from an average of about 200 billion per month in the first half of the year to something in the region of 350 billion per month in the second half of the year.
The Honorable Minister for Works, Senator David Umahi, has revealed that the Federal Ministry of Works will insert provision of a 15-year shelf life insurance guarantee for the works and a maximum of 5% of variation of price clause in the contract.
We don't have overloading, on our roads. The truth is poor construction. And so when we have this 2%, the contractors will be bound to maintain the roads for 10 years. And they will do a drawdown on this 2%. And that's what we are proposing. So we say using asphalt is good, but you have to be bound by that 15 years, the road will not fail. And you will not come to ask us for more than 5% VOP. And using concrete is 50 years, and you are bound by the VOP.
Earlier, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Works, Senator Barinada Mpigi, representing Rivers East, in his opening remark, urged the minister to ensure the budget of the ministry meets the yearning and demands of Nigerians.
Honorable Minister and team, with the principle of equity, justice, and fairness, it's expected that the budget you are giving to us should reflect all Nigerians and the aspiration.
The need to pay attention and address societal rot has once again been brought to the fore. And this came up during the public presentation of a book, The Wings of a Pregnant Virgin. The author, Chris Aviomo, said the didactic book, which is all-encompassing, mirrors several issues affecting the society, including rape as well as ritual killings, romance, and politics. The book reviewer, Neka Onaga, who was visibly excited about the book, delves into the parts that resonate with her, as it also deals with issues of young people who are fixated on marriage without enough knowledge about it.
It's a book that's encompassing both horror, politics, romance, as in serious romance. It's a lot of everything captured into it. When I write, I like to go into details. So even though that it's more of a moral book, I don't want to hide. There are some very graphic pictures, even ritual killings and sexual, so I wouldn't want children to see that.
The intrigues about a virgin getting pregnant, until you read through that, you get to know that, someone could be raped and wouldn't know. One of the chapters talked about, how single girls and boys are very enthusiastic to get married. It doesn't matter to who, and it doesn't matter what the outcome of the marriage will be. In our world today, it is the end that justifies the means.
Other guests who attended the public presentation praised the author's intellectual acumen while explaining how relatable it is to the modern issues that Nigerians go through.
The book is a very contemporary book that mirrors the ease of our society, our current society. And I would recommend that people read the book to see exactly what is going on in the society.
A lot of people don't read anymore because of issues. There were vision, sight, no time, they are tired. But I found out that reading relaxes me. I can only speak for myself. Even if it's just one page, you get some bullet key points, some bright moments, some aha moments from reading. So instead of just watching TV or movies end to end, it's always good to make sense, to read, because when you read, you actually improve the mind, and the older you get, reading helps your memory.
Still ahead, Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny missing after being removed from prison. Details when we return. Stay with us.
An African girl somewhere is sitting at home, accompanied by dreams that seem so far away. Africa is one of the continents with the highest out-of-school percentage in education, and girls are at an early disadvantage. The sub-Saharan Africa records about 18 million out-of-school girls. This gender gap extends to the tech space with a projection of only a 33% global female workforce representation in tech firms for 2022. Let us help change the stories and numbers. Africa Agility's Project Train a Girl campaign is working to help train African girls in tech. You can donate as little as $2 or 2,000 naira to help a girl in tech get her heels in the door. Visit www.africaagility.rallyup.com/PTAG to donate.
And now moving on to other parts of Africa. The withdrawal of the East African force deployed in the east of the DRC after its mission was not renewed by Kinshasa because it was deemed ineffective continued on Sunday with the departure of nearly 1,000 Burundian soldiers. The Burundian army announced this on Monday as nearly 250 South Sudanese soldiers and 300 Kenyan soldiers from this community of East Africa states EAC force, whose mandate ended on 8 December, have already left Goma, the provincial capital of North Kivu. And for nearly 25 million people in need, the United Nations has only been able to reach a fraction, according to the head of the UN's humanitarian response in war-torn Sudan. But assistance to even those 4 million could soon stop, as Clementine Huerta Salami told reporters in an interview if the chronic lack of funding continues. The UN's humanitarian coordinator for Sudan says 8 months into a conflict between rival generals that has torn the country apart, the situation is catastrophic. Aid workers have called it the forgotten war. On April 15th, Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former deputy Mohamed Hamdan Daglo, who commands the paramilitary rapid support forces, turned their weapons on each other. Egyptians went to the polls on Sunday in a presidential election overshadowed by war in neighboring Gaza, and with little doubt the incumbent Abdel Fattah al-Sisi will secure a third term. In a country gripped by the most severe financial crisis in its recent history, inflation has hovered near 40% after the currency lost half its value and drove up the cost of imports. The economy is at the center of Egyptians' concern. And Tijani Thiam, a former boss of banking giant Credit Suisse and favorite to lead Ivory Coast's main opposition party before 2025 elections, drew thousands of supporters on Saturday in his first rally since announcing his candidacy. He had 2,000 party chiefs and activists gathered in the capital, Yamoussoukro, to remain united in the Democratic Party of Ivory Coast, PDCI, goal of returning to power. Highlighting his banking and engineering background, Thiam outlined a program that would promote party decentralization and the autonomy and power of the activist base. At 61, Thiam is a relatively young top political figure in the West African nation and is returning after more than 20 years abroad. From news outside Africa, Hamas said it was striking back against Israeli forces across Gaza on Monday, and Palestinians and international relief agencies said public order was disintegrating as hunger spread, fueling fears of a mass exodus to Egypt. The narrow coastal strip has been under a full Israeli blockade since the start of a conflict more than 2 months ago, and the border with Egypt is the only other way out. And most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been driven from their homes, and residents say it is impossible to find refuge or increasingly food in the densely populated enclave, with around 18,000 people already killed and conflict intensifying. A retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Bob Magennis discusses Russian leader Vladimir Putin's decision to seek re-election in 2024. Alexei Navalny, the jailed Russian opposition leader, has disappeared from prison and his whereabouts are unknown, his allies said on Monday. Navalny was supposed to appear in court via video link ahead of a transfer to a special security penal colony, but never did, a spokeswoman Kira Yarmysh wrote on X. Yarmysh said prison officials blamed electrical problems and that lawyers have been unable to access Navalny for nearly a week. Up next, National Bureau of Statistics says VAT remittances increases to 948.07 billion naira in the third quarter. That's in business news. After the short break, stay with us.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 they pay.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to the Business Desk. Now, customers in Nigeria are withdrawing large volumes of cash from banks and depositing less, raising concerns in financial circles as the customer survey review without a complaint about the scarcity of Naira notes continued, with queues diverting from less dispensing ATMs to banking halls for over-the-counter withdrawal. The Central Bank of Nigeria has insisted that there is enough currency in circulation to meet all demands and caution against panic withdrawals. The cash scarcity may snowball into a full-blown panic if this situation continues. Moreover, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has reassured Nigerian banks that they are resilient despite media reports suggesting some licensed commercial banks failed the CBN's capital adequacy ratio for international authorization. Now, the CBN clarified that the banking industry remains resilient as key financial soundness indicators are within regulatory thresholds. The CBN is engaging with stakeholders to maintain confidence in the Nigerian financial sector and appeal to Nigerians to disregard media reports listing banks as failing the CAR stress test. Still in business, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has expressed concerns over the recent exit of Procter & Gamble from Nigeria, citing challenges in the industry. MAN Director General Segun Ajayi Kadir argues that the industry's long-term viability relies on government effort to dismantle barriers and calls for a strategic shift towards empowering local manufacturers. He urges immediate government interventions to ensure the sector's sustainability and growth. Moving on, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) is reporting that the aggregate value-added tax (VAT) in Nigeria reached 948.07 billion naira in the third quarter of 2023, at 21.34% growth from the second quarter this year. Local payments were 522.08 billion naira, while foreign VAT payments and import VAT contributed 204.58 naira and 221.41 billion naira, respectively. Agriculture, forestry, and fishing saw the highest growth rate at 91.87%, followed by extraterritorial organizations and bodies at 80.25%. Real estate and construction had the lowest growth rate. VAT collections increased by 51.60% year-on-year. Now, there are indications that foreign airlines may be planning to exit Nigeria's airspace soon at the backdrop of the worsening operating environment. This is coming amid several exits of foreign businesses from the country this year. The latest being Procter & Gamble of the United States, which announced the decision to pull out last week, barely a month after another multinational corporation, GlaxoSmithKline, took a similar step. Now, the key challenge, according to the airline operators, remains the inability to raise the foreign currency required for the operations. As over $792 million of the funds are still trapped in Nigeria, a development that is currently threatening their operations globally. And still in business, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry (LCCI) has advised the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, engage multinational corporations and the business community in the country to enable it to understand their challenges and develop appropriate solutions to deal with them. The Chamber, in its reaction to P&G's ending of manufacturing operations in Nigeria, added that input and feedback on policy decisions gathered from such engagements would go a long way to collaboratively develop solutions that will forestall the exodus of business from the country. The company, in the statement signed by its Director General, Dr. Chinyere Alumona, also asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to prioritize the stability of the country's currency and adopt the right policy mix to ensure price stability. Describing as worrisome the consistent increase over the last few months in exit plans from the Nigerian market by the multinationals, the Business Advocacy Group called on the federal government to quickly work on some of the challenges such as foreign exchange scarcity, poor power supply, port congestion, multiple taxation, and others bedeviling the nation's manufacturing sector. And that's much can take on business. I am Emmanuel Olubobokun. The news continues shortly.
And our entertainment news up next.
Since first gaining international success in 2019, Burna Boy has risen to global superstar status. In another landmark feat, Burna Boy has become the first African artist to sell out the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Berlin, Germany. On Saturday, Burna Boy sold out the 17,000 capacity as part of the stops for his I Told Them World Tour. The arena became part of the several historic venues Burna Boy has sold out in what consistently made him the first African artist to sell out the venues. Earlier this year, Burna Boy became the first African to headline a stadium concert in the United Kingdom after selling out the London Stadium. He also became the first African to sell out a stadium in the United States with his packed-out show at the Citi Field Stadium in New York. 2023 has been another impressive year for Burna Boy, who continues to be the face of African music globally. Alhaji Olarewaju Adepoju, a Yoruba poet, writer, artist, and religious leader, has passed on at the age of 83 years. Adepoju was confirmed dead on Sunday in his home in Ibadan. His son confirmed the news in a brief announcement on Sunday. He said the incident occurred at about 7 p.m. A statement via Olarewaju Adepoju's official Facebook page reads, "With heavy hearts, we announce the passing of our dear father, Chief Olarewaju Adepoju. From Allah we come, and unto him we shall all return." American rapper Blueface has accused his baby mama, Christian Rock, of cheating on him with colleague Cardi B's husband, Offset. He made the fresh allegation on Sunday, days after accusing his baby mama of paternity fraud. He stated that a DNA test revealed he isn't the father of their child, describing the revelation as a bittersweet feeling. In a recent twist of events, the rapper accused his baby mama of having sexual affair with Cardi B's husband, Offset, at their matrimonial home in Los Angeles. After a scary near-death experience, Jamie Foxx is determined to make the most out of life. The actor converted his home into a wonderland for Christmas. He took to Instagram to share a video of his home elaborately decorated with bright lights and other Christmas decorations. In the caption, he wrote, "When I was a kid, the only light we could afford for outside the house was a red light bulb. I said when I am finally blessed enough, I'm gonna light it up."
And now in sports news, as part of efforts to encourage civil-military relations and to mark the end-of-year activity, Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command Rear Admiral Mustafa Hassan says the administrative organization of the Nigerian Navy is not only known for swimming excellence, but also exhibits perfection in all sporting events. Rear Admiral Mustafa said these are the maiden edition of the volleyball tournament organized by the Admiral Superintendent of the Naval Dockyard, Rear Admiral Abolaji Orederu. The Dockyard Chief said the event will be yearly as more sports will be introduced in the next edition. 4 teams, Naval Dockyard Limited, Naval Training Command, Dodan Barracks and Western Naval Command will battle for the grand prize on Wednesday.
It's a combination of factors. Number one is the fact that this is a dockyard where the men work so hard. They put in a lot of efforts, a lot of energy into what they are doing. So we decided to look for a means for them to be able to relax without having to go out and commit crime or get into trouble. So we started the volleyball practice here for them to come in the evening and play. And we saw gradually that it was becoming very serious. So as part of our end-of-year activities, we felt that we could do something. We could start something that will last forever. And that's because this is the only place in this yard where you can do sports. So we said, okay, why don't we have an annual tournament for volleyball? A time for us to relax, as having worked all through the year, for the men to unwind, and more importantly, to be able to network with our...
The Navy has its core functions, which is about operations and administration. So sports will help build teamwork. Teamwork is critical, and that's why we have comradeship. And also when we're working on a ship, you have people from different trades. We have cooks, navigators, communicators, engineers, logisticians, and also with sports, it helps to bring us all together as one for better efficiency. Very impressed. The dockyard is known normally for only engineering work and nothing else, but this time we're seeing sports, and I'm not shocked. The leader of the dockyard, Rear Admiral Orederu, I'm very familiar with him. He's a very dynamic leader. So being here today seeing sports, I'm not surprised. Tomorrow it might be motor racing, who knows?
And let's now join Luka Tinubu for more sports news.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on Plus TV Africa. Super Eagles and Napoli striker Victor Osimhen has been nominated for the 2023 International Federation of Football History and Statistics Men's World Best Player for 2023. IFFHS unveiled Osimhen alongside 24 other nominees for the award on their website, including notable names like Lionel Messi, who was the 2022 recipient of the award, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland, Antoine Griezmann, and Bukayo Saka. Also included are Vinicius Jr., Mohamed Salah, Martin Odegaard, Harry Kane, Kevin De Bruyne, and Jude Bellingham. The 24-year-old who scored 26 goals for Napoli last season, helping them win their first league title since the 1989-1990 season, was named Italian Footballers Association Serie A Player of the Year for the 2022-2023 season, and is also in the running for the 2023 CAF Player of the Year award with Mohamed Salah and Achraf Hakimi. The IFFHS was the first to create the award for the world's best player in 1988. Marco van Basten, Lothar Matthaus were the three winners between 1988 and 1990, before former FIFA President Sepp Blatter asked it to give the award to FIFA to become FIFA World Player of the Year. Since 2020, however, the IFFHS has decided to award the IFFHS World's Player of the Year again, and in 2021 also added the IFFHS World's Youth Player of the Year. Now, UEFA President Alexander Ceferin, who was elected in 2016, replacing Michel Platini, is in the process of trying to overturn one of his own reforms, which limits all executive appointments to 3 terms in order to remain in power until 2031. He is due to step down in 2027, but the Slovenian supporters are working on a plan to amend the rule, which would allow Ceferin, who was unopposed when he was re-elected this year, to stand again in 2027. Former Manchester United chief executive David Gill, a member of UEFA's executive committee, is leading the opposition to any change and is understood to have reacted angrily when the matter was raised at an executive committee meeting last week, arguing the plan was undemocratic. The amendment, which his supporters want, as Ceferin took over partway through Platini's 4-year term in office, would mean any appointment before 2017 would not be counted as part of the allowable 3 terms. Others at the meeting also voiced their opposition, although it is not known if Ceferin, who has huge support in Eastern Europe, has enough wider backing to push through his controversial plan. The proposal is due to go before UEFA's Congress in Paris on 8th February, when it will need a 2/3 majority of the organization's 55 members for the relevant statutes to be amended. And that's all the sports stories we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Have a good night.
And the main news again. 27 out of the 32 Rivers lawmakers have dumped PDP for APC. President Tinubu has commissioned Zulum's 107 electric gas buses and taxis. Water in Sudan is facing catastrophe as UN ran out of funds. Palestinians are starving as Gaza war rages amid fears of exodus into Egypt. That's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. I am Destiny Momo. Many thanks for watching.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
It's a nation forged from the ruins of a fallen empire. A once poor country that in the early 2000s rose to become an economic success story. And whose leader, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, inspired hope.
He came to power saying he respected democracy.
Yet during his nearly two-decade rule, Erdogan has repeatedly attacked one of democracy's bedrock principles: freedom of the press.
So we started to see a crackdown on media.
It's resulted in fines, arrests, trials, and imprisonment for journalists who question the government.
There's no space for freedom of expression and free media in Turkey.
Many of Turkey's citizens have seen their lives changed during Erdogan's years in power. Their views reveal a highly polarized nation, divided by belief, by politics, and ethnicity. A nation where the mainstream media is controlled by the government, where dissent is suppressed, and democracy is under siege. November 3rd, 2002, Ankara, Turkey. Outside the Justice and Development Party headquarters, a crowd celebrates a stunning landslide victory in Turkey's national election. The party, known as the AKP, is the first with Islamist roots to win full control of the government in the nation's history. Its leader, a charismatic 48-year-old former mayor of Istanbul, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. His victory speech brims with confidence.
Demokrasinin daha sağlıklı çalışması için oy verdiniz. Sizler yönetemeyen bir demokrasiden yöneten bir demokrasiye geçiş için oy verdiniz.
Erdogan had formed the AKP only a year earlier. But Turkey's voters were ready for change.
Erdogan's election victory in 2002 followed a decade of immense political and economic instability in Turkey. The country suffered from triple-digit inflation in the 1990s, as well as cases of corruption that were aired out by the country's free press at the time. So the electorate was sick and tired of what looked like unending political crises, economic crises, and Erdogan's victory promised to bring in a breath of fresh air.
Erdogan's AKP platform proposed a series of democratic reforms, among them pledging to ease up on the news media, which had long been subject to government censorship. Turkey seemed poised for a new era.
There really was a lot of optimism in terms of issues that could be talked about, of what could be discussed on television, in the news, on the radio, even in the